you touched on a lot of things there, right from at the start, you're talking about automation, but by the end of it, you were really talking about culture. Well, I feel like that throughout the whole process. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into culture now because it's a good segue. DevSecOps or introducing security into the DevOps things, it's going to require a culture shift because as you mentioned at the start, the security teams, they're known as the guys with the sticks, right? So, you know, how do you change the culture? Now, we talked about agile, smaller startups. It's easy to introduce security culture into them from the beginning. But what about larger organizations? How have you seen, with your experience, people change the security culture? Because it can feel like you're trying to turn around a cargo ship in a parking lot sometimes when these big organizations, when you try and shift their culture.
So thing number one, switch stick for a carrot, because it's easy to punish people when they are not producing the right quality of code, right quality of application that meets all those security standards. But if you're doing your job well and you're doing that, it's rare to hear, yes, you're doing a great job. We appreciate that you're doing that. And I think that this is something that startups do better because they are smaller teams and they are more also human-centric teams. They are also more focused on appreciating when somebody delivers a good quality of work. So the first thing I would recommend everybody who's working in security, try thinking about, okay, maybe I've seen recently somebody, for example, doing astonishing work with testing. Maybe somebody spotted some issue in the development process that we managed to fix. Maybe somebody proposed something early in the development process that was security conscious. In case like this, really appreciate those people and don't be afraid to make shout out for them in Slack or Microsoft Teams and make it public, like this person is doing a good job, because they really care about security in the process. Because then you stop being guy with a stick and a checklist. You also start being a person that really appreciates this effort in the team. And when you see somebody else being praised, 99% of people are going to think back in their head, okay, I also want to be praised. It's nice to have a shout out on Slack that I'm doing an awesome job. So that's the thing number one. The second thing is obviously promoting the security in the company. I can say again, various trainings, workshops, use cases, but this is another challenge of being an educator and security advocate in a company, that it's not about, just having another mandatory workshop for everybody when you say about you should do this and you shouldn't do this and nagging people, but think about, okay, how can I make this whole education effort in my company more interesting? And, there are those small people in security, which are, they are nuances in the overall security process, but they grab people's attention. Like, from my experience, when it comes to security, people love to hear about social engineering, which is important from the security standpoint. Otherwise, it's slightly less important from this DevSecOps perspective, but people love to hear the stories about social engineering and how it helped in certain, let's say, ransomware attack. So use those hooks like this to grab people attention into overall security topic in the company. And the last but not least, you need to be on top of what's happening in the teams and you need to be in touch with the DevOps organization, with developers and so on. So I think it's also important on the security professionals at companies to get out of your office sometimes and go to the stand-up with the team. Speak with them, see what they are working on, be involved in this DevOps process, because once you are doing that on the first line of the code development, you're going to see the things that you cannot see from your comfortable chair in your office.
Totally makes sense. We love the idea of like that groundswell up. The true meaning of shift left is let's move it earlier in the process, get everyone involved, automate the testing. But there is one stick that you're not going to be able to replace with a carrot out there, and that is that external stick of regulatory compliance. As we all know,
stick. That's a big horrible big stick.
And they can't lure us and say, "Oh, you've done a good job of compliance here, and you should be happy." That totally makes sense on a personal level, and I love that motion. But we still have to deal with the regulatory compliances and how they're constantly shifting. So how does that work into this model?
So the thing that I found really amazing, and I even see that in Git Protect, where I'm working right now, is treating external auditor as a common enemy. And it may sound awful, but when it really brings all the people together, like, okay, what we can do to pass this audit again? How can I help other people to make this process working? And how it's done? By having everybody celebrate the fact that we passed an audit, the fact that we passed a pen test. And in Git Protect, where I'm working right now, sales is celebrating when we pass the pen test. Marketing is announcing that everywhere. Product is happy. Security is happy. Research and development is happy, because we all know that, okay, it makes our company better. It brings us more trust from our customers. We're going to close more deals as a sales. We're going to have something to shout about in our marketing channels, which is actually relevant for our customers. It's not another generic social media post. We're going to have security giving us a little bit of break for the next year until the next audit comes. So having that perception that, okay, this is our common enemy that we are fighting with the external auditor, and everybody celebrates when it's done, it also makes people who are responsible for it in the development process feel a little bit more like a superhero. Okay, I need to put a little extra effort in my work to make everybody celebrate and everybody happy. Because if, God forbid, we fail the audit, nobody's going to celebrate. Everybody's going to be frustrated. We're going to lose a bunch of deals. Marketing is going to post another boring post on our social media. Everything goes down. So I think having this mindset, like I'm part of the bigger picture as a company, is relevant here.